Have you ever been in a situation where no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to pinpoint exactly where some buried treasure is? Well, don't worry, in this video I'm going to be sharing 5 incredibly helpful tips and strategies that will help you seriously level up your treasure hunting skills. The very first tip I want to talk about on this list is the ability to zoom in on your treasure map. If you're holding out your voyage map and you press F on PC, I'm not 100% sure what the input will be on controller since I've never played this game with a controller, but if you press F, it'll zoom into your map. This lets you get a closer look that could definitely help you distinguish different landmarks from one another, and hopefully help you find out more information about where you need to be. While you're zoomed in, you can also pan around the map and look at different areas, and it's just overall very helpful. I know this one might seem really simple, but it has saved me a ton of time over the thousands of treasure I've dug up in my time playing Sea of Thieves. Once you get to the island that your digs are on, take a second and just figure out which side of the island you're on, and which way you're facing. The treasure maps that you get will always be oriented the same way as they show up on the map, where the top of the map points north. I get that this might sound silly, but there has been a lot of times, especially when I was much newer to the game, where I was looking for a dig spot on the complete wrong side of a large island just because a couple of rocks or something look similar to the rocks on the map. One thing that I generally recommend, even though this one is more of a personal preference, is turning on high contrast X marks the spot markers. Turning on this feature will turn all of the X's on your map from red to white, and I think that this helps make map markers stand out a bit more from everything else, especially on islands that have a lot of red plants. I think that this tip isn't the single most important on this list, but it definitely adds a little bit of an advantage that, combined with all the other things on this list, really help me find digs fast and efficiently. To get to this setting, you'll just have to open up your menu, go to settings, then graphics, and scroll all the way down to the very bottom. 2 great things to use as a reference points to help you figure out where your dig spots are will be the red plants and the pathways, and that's because these things stick out and contrast much more than everything else on any island. And it's also very common that dig spots will be somewhat close to one of these things. And finally, the last thing on this list, and something I never really thought about until I saw this YouTube comment: if you're ever just completely lost, which could definitely happen on larger islands for sure, just bury another item that you have nearby, no matter what it is, and you can look at the map for that new item to see the X where you are to use as a point of reference and compare it to where you need to be to figure out where you need to move from there.